I saw this Reddit post and I wanted to give it a read and talk about it. I have already pre-read this, so I know the content. And I thought this is actually pretty good advice. Some of this is pretty good advice for anybody that's currently trying to get into a FAANG company. The post is titled, How I Cheated My Way into FAANG Interviews and Got the Offer. All right, so let's be real. Interviews are more about playing the game than being the best engineer. Probably true. I didn't grind 500 lead code problems and I didn't have a perfect resume. Instead, I hacked the interview process by understanding how the hiring actually works. Here's exactly what I did. Step number 1, skipping the black hole. Code applications are a waste. I talk a lot about this on my channel, so let's see where this goes. I never applied through company portals. They get thousands of applications and ATS filters out most of them. Instead, I targeted engineers and hiring managers on LinkedIn and asked for referrals. Okay, this is something I talk a lot about on this channel, how referrals are important and how to get them on LinkedIn. So I definitely so far agree with this. I kept my message short and to the point. Hey, name, I'm really interested in team company and I'd love to apply. I have X years of experience and relevant skill, and I think I'd be a great fit. Would you be open to referring me? If you already have a bunch of relevant experience and it's very clear that you're qualified for the job that you're applying to, sending a short message like this is actually not a bad idea. Okay, this got me multiple referrals in a week and I went straight to recruiter screens instead of waiting in the void. Okay, cool. This person is clearly experiencing the same thing where referrals work really well for them. No surprise there. That has always been my experience. Okay, step 2, only studying what actually gets asked. Okay, interesting. We're getting to advice that I don't talk about on this channel. So let's see where this takes us. Instead of grinding hundreds of lead code problems, I reverse engineered the interview questions. I searched Glassdoor, Blind, and lead code discussion forums for recent questions from my target company. I found patterns. Most companies asked the same 10 to 15 core problems over and over again. Instead of solving 500 random problems, I studied top 30 questions per company, sorted by frequency. This is, by the way, something you can do with lead code. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but they do have lists like that, and you could sort them, I think, by frequency as well. Okay, next one, patterns, not solutions. Oh, this is just a sliding window problem with a twist. Okay, so this is really important. If you are going to take this approach and you're going to study just the top problems for that company, I don't think it's a bad approach. I think it's a great approach, actually. However, you still do need to look under the hood, and instead of trying to memorize those 30 problems, you need to understand what is the underlying algorithms or data structures or whatever they're asking underneath, what they're trying to get to. You still need to know the basics under the hood. Taking specific top 30 questions per company is not a bad approach. It's something that I've never tried before, but I would say that's probably good advice from everything that I know so far. Yeah, so patterns, not solutions. Mock interviews on PRAMP and with friends to get real-time feedback. Yeah, it's also pretty good advice. I have some friends who are currently in a job market, and what they do is that you're practicing is not one-to-one or even close to one-to-one. It's still good to go ahead and practice that. Although what I found when I'm in an interview cycle and I'm interviewing at a bunch of companies, the last thing I want to do is mock interviews. So I guess it just really depends on a person. I don't do this, but not a bad advice. Results, I was solving interview questions in under 10 minutes instead of struggling through brute force solutions. Cool, that checks out. All right, step 3, finessing the behavioral interview. It's a scripted test. FAANG behavioral rounds aren't about personality. They're looking for structured answers. This is true. I'm not sure what they say nowadays about their interviews. They usually have some sort of videos and on the careers page or whatever, and they'll say stuff about their personality tests and such. They're looking for something very specific. So then this post author goes on to saying, I prepped 5 stories using the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Yep, I've seen this exact same thing at bigger companies. They usually want, if they don't call it STAR, they still want this sort of approach where you describe the situation, describe your task, and then tell them what actions you took, and then they want to know what the result is. And in the next point, the key, always show impact with metrics. Yep, absolutely. You have to show impact with metrics. You do not want to be vague on this. You want to be very specific. So yes, this part is structured. There's a certain type of answer that they're expecting, and they're checking bullet points. And even if they don't call it STAR, it's a really simple and like good method to practice when you are thinking about how you're going to talk about your resume, how you're going to talk about your achievements and bullet points and so on that you put on there. This is a good method to practice. So definitely look up STAR. Okay, step 4, exploiting the hiring process loopholes. I timed my interview strategically. Companies move faster when they know you have other offers. This is true in most cases I've encountered, though not always. I thought out hiring events and bar raiser systems, like Amazon, for example, has a bar raiser who can override bad interviewers. This is new to me. I've never heard of that. Cool. I built relationships with my recruiter. They have power to push through borderline candidates and help with negotiations. Yeah, this is also true. Remember that recruiters are on your side. Their job is to place people into roles at the company. And if the candidate doesn't work out later on in the interview cycle, that means they have to go back out there and do more work to find somebody else to schedule interviews and go through all of that. So it is the easiest for them to just push through the existing candidate. Definitely understand that recruiters are on your side. Ask them questions. A lot of times they'll give you little bits and pieces of information and hints on how to prepare, what to expect, and so on. Okay, step number 5, offer and negotiation hacks. Once I had one offer, I used it to pressure other companies to move faster. I acted slightly disinterested. Companies chase candidates who seem in demand. Also, it really depends on the company in my experience, but probably more true than not. I negotiated hard. I love the opportunity, but my other offer is at X dollars. Can you match it or improve it? I was hoping for a higher base signing bonus to align with market rates. Results plus 40K increase in total compensation. Not a bad strategy. There are some really good pieces that I should read at some point, some blogs that I've seen on this topic on how to negotiate with multiple offers. But I think this is a decent overarching example, I suppose. The end result, FAANG offer with 300K plus total compensation, minimal time wasted on relevant prep, and less stress, more control over the process. Moral of the story, the FAANG hiring process is not a meritocracy, it's a game. If you know how to play it, you don't need to work twice as hard as everyone else. Just be smarter about it. Okay, in general, I do agree with this. Like, you want to be as smart about the process as possible, especially if you're in a situation where looking for a job is not the only thing you're doing. You might already have another job, you might have family to take care of, whatever you are doing. It's definitely like this advice is not some sort of cheat code. This is how you should be preparing for FAANG interviews. You need to conserve your time and energy, and you need to be preparing just for the right things at the right time as much as possible. I wanted to read this because I think it's great advice, and I hope you found this useful and interesting. If you want me to do more videos like this, let me know in the comments below, and I will try to read more posts and blog posts and so on out loud.